Space near the edge of the Galeron sector was usually quiet. Not many ships passed through that region anymore. The stars there were old and cold, and most planets had long been mined or abandoned. A small alien science vessel named Vurek floated, alone, studying radiation waves from a nearby dead moon. The crew was relaxed, enjoying the calm. Commander Threx, the senior officer on board, was sipping his warm crystal brew when the signal came. It was a strange blip on the radar, slow, and coming straight toward their sector. "Another drifting wreck?" asked crew member Selen, blinking her 3 eyes as she checked the readings. "Maybe a ghost ship," someone joked. But the signal didn't fade like most space junk. Kept coming, steady, alive. "Let's see what it is," Commander Threx said. He tapped the console and brought the unknown object onto the main screen. The crew leaned in. It was a ship. Yes, but unlike any they had seen before. Thick armored plating, long antennae, a triangular shape. It looked old, very old. "That thing is flying?" Selen asked, confused. "Barely," said another crewman. It's moving slower than an asteroid." The ship had no ID code, no known engine pattern, no known design. No response to hails. Commander Threx sent a scan report to Central Command. Soon, word spread through the network. Other alien ships began to take notice. A few more vessels arrived in the area, staying at a distance. The unknown ship moved on, silent, towards the center of the sector. Some began laughing. Others began to worry. "Who flies something that old into active space?" asked Captain Jor of the Zelian Patrol. "Are they lost? Are they insane? No heat signature, minimal shields, no escorts," noted Commander Lark from the Thrin fleet. "This ship is either foolish or hiding something." Meanwhile, on a small listening post orbiting a barren moon, a young operator named Mina saw something that made her gasp. "That symbol on the side," she whispered. "It's human." Her supervisor frowned. "Human? From Earth?" "Yes," she pointed. "Look, Sumin, the old Terran flag. In those numbers, that's English script." The supervisor stared for a long moment, then quickly alerted the nearest command relay. The word spread like wildfire. A Terran warship has entered the Galeran sector. On most galactic maps, Earth was a quiet little blue dot. Humans had made some noise a few decades ago, but then vanished from the bigger politics. No one had seen a human warship in years. Some believed their military was gone. Others said they never had much of one to begin with. But now, there it was. Moving slow, moving steady, and not responding to anything. A fleet of 6 ships from the Zarin Empire arrived to monitor. They formed a loose ring around the unknown warship. They didn't engage, not yet. "Send another hail," one of the Zarin officers said. Maybe they didn't hear the first 10. But still, the ship stayed silent. Inside the alien fleet's debate started. "They're clearly broken," said one voice. "Let's board them and offer aid." "What if it's bait?" asked another. "Why fly alone unless you want attention?" "Get to one ship," said a third. "What can it possibly do against all of us?" No one noticed that the Terran ship had adjusted its course. It wasn't heading toward the science vessel anymore. It was moving toward the center of the fleet. They're changing direction." One officer said. "Looks like a targeting maneuver." Another added. "What target? They haven't powered any weapons." Still, every fleet ship raised shields. Just in case, the Terran ship stopped moving. Then it sent a message. Only one. Just a single repeating signal across all known frequencies. It was a countdown. No voice, no explanation. It's just numbers, slowly ticking down from 30. Some thought it was a joke. Others thought it was a warning. A few ships locked their weapons. Are they... threatening us? Commander Threx said aloud. The countdown reached 20, then 15, then 10. "What do we do?" asked Captain Jor. "Hold fire," said Commander Lark. "Do not shoot unless they shoot first." "But what if we're wrong? Then we'll find out soon." The countdown reached 5. Tension filled every ship for 3, 4, 1. For a moment, nothing happened. Silence, then the outer hull of the Terran ship began to shift. Panels moved. Parts folded back. Strange long structures emerged from its sides and top. They weren't engines or antennas. It looked like weapons, but nothing any of the alien fleets recognized. Inside, each ship officer stared at the screens, frozen. Are those... Guns? Someone whispered. I don't know, another answered. Then the sensors started screaming. Energy spikes. Readings beyond what their scanners could measure. The Terran ship wasn't broadcasting anymore. It wasn't moving, but it was. Awake. A single line of data scrolled across the Zarn flagship's tactical display. Energy surge detected, unknown source. Prepare for possible engagement. Commander Threx, still on his science vessel, backed away from the screen. We need to leave, he said. But we're unarmed, Selen replied. Exactly. The strange human ship floated there, now fully unfolded, its shape no longer resembling anything old or weak. It looked like something that belonged to a darker era, a weapon from a forgotten time, and still, it didn't fire yet. The entire Galaran sector was holding its breath. The Terran ship floated in silence, but it was no longer the same as before. Its outer shell had shifted. Strange long weapons had unfolded from its sides and top. No one had seen anything like them. They looked old, yet advanced. The ship didn't shine. It didn't make noise. It just waited like a beast sitting still before a strike. On the Zarn flagship, Captain Rilvik stood in front of the screen, arms behind his back. His voice was low but firm. Is it charging something? Yes, his tech officer replied. Eyes wide, but we can't tell what. The energy spikes are. It's off the charts. We've never recorded this type before. Across the sector, alien fleets from 6 different empires were now present. Every ship was on high alert. Many had weapons locked onto the Terran Warship. Still, no one dared to shoot first. Any communication? Asked Commander Lark from the Thrin fleet. None. After the countdown, silence. Then we wait. Captains, especially from the younger empires, were growing impatient. To them, the Terran ship was just a relic. Its slow speed, thick armor, and lack of shields made it look weak. Too weak to be a real threat. Maybe it's just for show, muttered Captain Valix of the VR swarm. Something they built to scare us. An empty shell. Then why are we still nervous? Said her first officer. Why hasn't anyone fired yet? Deep down, everyone knew the truth. There was something wrong about the silence. It wasn't fear. It was confidence. The Terran ship wasn't running. It wasn't begging for help. It had come here alone in purpose. Meanwhile, in a hidden observation ship above the field, a group of neutral watchers recorded everything they were from. The Crawl Archives, a race known for studying wars but never joining them. Fascinating, said the lead observer. It is not just a ship. It is a message. What kind of message? One the galaxy has not heard in a long time. On board the Terran ship, no one knew who was inside, or if it even had a crew. It gave no life readings, no heat, no movement. But its systems were alive. One scan showed something that shocked even the Thrin Science Division. Double quotes, sir. A technician said, showing the screen to Commander Lark, we found the ship's core. It's not fusion, it's not dark energy, it's not something else. How old is it? The readings say over 200 years. That's impossible. And yet, here it is. The Thrin were known for their knowledge of old tech. But even they had no record of this kind of power source. What if it's not old? Asked a young officer. What if it's hidden? In the control center of the Zarn flagship, Captain Rolvik made a decision. Send a drone. Unarmed. We need a closer look? A small drone left the ship and approached the Terran Warship. It sent back live video. Surface of the ship was covered in scratches, dents, and burn marks. It looked like it had survived many battles. Yet, there was not a single hole in its hull. Look at that pattern, someone said. Those aren't battle scars. Those are designs, like ... warnings. The drone got closer. It hovered near one of the strange weapons. Then, without warning, the weapon moved just slightly, not to attack, but to follow the drone. The drone froze. Its camera kept rolling. It sees us, Captain Rolvik whispered. A moment later, the drone lost power. It didn't explode, didn't burn. It just stopped, dead in space. No energy, no signal. Rulvek turned to his officers. Bring it. Back. We can't. It's like the energy inside just vanished. That was when the fear truly began to spread. In the sector control room, a high-ranking officer from the Jural Union shouted through the comms. We need answers. Is this a weapon? Is this an invasion? Commander Threx, still watching from his science vessel, spoke carefully. We don't know, but I don't think they're here to talk. Another countdown appeared. This one started from 60. The alien. Fleets were thrown into chaos. Is it another warning? Captain Jor of the Zelian patrol yelled. Maybe Lark answered, but we might not get a third. The fleet started to shift. Some moved back, others circled wider around the Terran ship. Still, no one fired. They were trapped in a silent standoff. Maybe we shoot now, said Valex, for it does. Risk triggering the full attack. Someone argued. You want to be the one who starts a war with Earth? Then, a second energy pulse shot from the Terran ship, but not at anyone. It hit a nearby asteroid, breaking it into a perfect cube. No debris, no fire. Just one solid block, smooth like glass. No one understood how. What kind of weapon does? That? A technician asked, his voice shaking. Not a weapon, Threx said softly. A demonstration. The Terran ship sent a short message again. No voice, just text. This is control.
Ow.
This is precision. This is your warning. The fleet stood still. Minutes passed. Ships from the outer systems began to retreat. No one said it, but they were scared. The silence, the power, the message. It all pointed to one thing. This wasn't a mistake. It was a planned arrival, Commander. Lark, now in private communication with Rolvik and Threx, made a final suggestion. We do not fire. We do not chase. We let it leave. Rolvik didn't like the idea. And what if it doesn't want to? Then, Threx added, we'll all learn just how far behind we really are. The Terran Warship began to move again, slow, steady. But now, every alien ship backed away. No more jokes. No more scans. No more taunts. They just watched in silence as the ship continued deeper into the sector. And still, it never fired. Not yet. The Terran Warship kept moving forward. Slow, steady, silent. Every alien ship in the sector gave it space. The Zarn, Empire, the Thrin fleet, the Viora swarm, and others all backed off, creating a wide circle around the strange human ship. No one wanted to be too close. They had seen what it could do without even attacking anyone. It turned an asteroid into a perfect glass cube. It disabled a drone without touching it. It sent a message that sounded like a warning. It's not a greeting. Inside the Zarn command ship, Captain Rolvik stared at the screen. The Terran ship looked quiet again. Its weapons were still out, but they weren't glowing. The countdown had stopped.
Oh.
No more signals, no movement. Just that slow glide through space like it was on a mission no one understood. Do we follow? And his first officer asked. Rolvik didn't answer right away. He looked around the room. Everyone was tense, hands ready to act, minds racing with questions. Follow at a distance, he finally said. Do not scan it. Do not speak to it. Just observe. In the Thrin fleet, Commander Lark made a similar choice. His ships formed a long arc, keeping their distance from the Terran Warship. His crew was scared, but they trusted him. Why do you think it's here? Young officer asked. Lark didn't know the answer. Maybe they want to remind us that they still exist. Why now? That's the real question. While the main fleets watched, other ships tried to sneak close. A scout cruiser from the VR swarm moved in from behind. Their leader, Captain Valex, was proud and bold. She believed the Terran ship was just clever with tricks, not truly dangerous. Lock onto its engines, she ordered. If we can track its power flow, we might learn something. They used a deep scan beam. It was soft, almost invisible. The Terran warship didn't move. But suddenly, the scan beam stopped. Not from the cruiser, but from the warship itself. It absorbed the scan. And then, for the first time, it responded directly. A message flashed on the VR cruiser's main screen. You were warned. Seconds later, one of the Terran ship's strange weapons turned slowly right toward the VR cruiser. Valix froze. Retreat, she shouted. Her ship pulled back fast, but it was too late. A bright flash burst from the Terran warship's weapon. It didn't make a sound. It didn't send heat. It just fired a beam of light that moved faster than anything they'd seen. The beam hit the cruiser's rear engine. It didn't explode. It didn't burn. It simply vanished. Half the ship was gone clean, smooth, and quiet. The rest of the cruiser drifted. Powerless lights flickering, crew shouting. In the control rooms of the other fleets, officers gasped. It was the first true attack. Not random, not messy, not out of fear. A calculated exact strike. Commander Threx, still watching from the science vessel Vurak, whispered, "It's not just a warship, it's a message in motion." Captain Rolvik opened, "Comes with all other fleets. No one else approaches the Terran ship. Do not scan it. Do not send drones. Do not test it again." Some captains agreed. Others stayed silent. The Terran warship kept moving. A recording of the cruiser strike was sent back to the homeworlds of the Vir, Zarn, the Thrin, and others. It spread quickly across communication hubs. Scientists, commanders, and politicians watched the footage over and over. They all came to the same conclusion. The ship didn't miss, it didn't hesitate, and it didn't need to destroy the whole cruiser. It chose to leave half of it in purpose, not war, not peace. A lesson on a distant planet in the Aren system? A galactic news broadcaster paused all normal shows to replay the strike. Viewers across sectors saw the light beam flash and the cruiser's tail vanish. A guest speaker said, "This is not a new weapon. This is forgotten power." The host nodded. The humans were quiet for decades. So maybe they weren't weak. Maybe they were just waiting. In a hidden crawl archive ship, the neutral watchers took notes. The lead observer made a quiet recording. Event log. Day 3. The Terran ship has acted with purpose. Its actions suggest intelligence, restraint, and overwhelming precision. If this continues, the balance of power across the galactic systems may shift forever. As hours passed, more ships arrived near the Galaran sector. They didn't come to fight. They came to watch. Nations that had ignored Earth now wanted answers. Who built that ship? Who controls it? Why show it now? Back in the field, the Terran warship stopped again. It hovered in open space, far from any planet or station. This time, it sent a different message. You forgot us. We did not forget you. And then another. We observed your wars. We watched your lies. We learned your limits. Fleet leaders across the sector read the message in silence. What do they want? Asked a Vir captain. Nothing, said Commander Lark. They want us to remember. The Terran ship began powering up again, not weapons, but its core. Energy readings rose. Brighter than before, stronger than before. Lights on its surface began to glow faintly. Was it preparing to leave, or was it preparing something worse? Inside the Zarn control room, Captain Rolvik made one last decision. All ships. Pull back. Full retreat to safe distance. This is no longer a standoff. This is a storm. Commander Threx, already far away, whispered to his crew, "We were lucky we didn't make them angry." The alien fleet slowly pulled away. No shots were fired. No warnings were shouted. They all left the Terran ship alone in the middle of space. And then, in complete silence, the ship vanished. No jump signal, no warp trail. It just faded like smoke blown by the wind, gone. Left behind was the broken half of the Vir cruiser. Floating quietly. No sound, no war, only a memory. After the Terran warship vanished, silence returned to the Galaran sector. But it wasn't peaceful silence. It was the kind that came after something powerful. The kind that left minds spinning and hearts cold. The alien fleet stayed in position, confused and shaken. The broken half of the VR cruiser still drifted near the center. No one moved close. No one dared. "Are we sure it's gone?" asked Captain Rolvik, staring at the screen. "No signals," his officer replied. "Nothing in any spectrum. It just disappeared." Commander Lark from the Thrin fleet spoke on the private channel. "We need to meet in person. Soon. A temporary." Command base was set up on a neutral station, orbiting a lifeless moon nearby. The leading commanders Rolvik, Lark, Threx, and others gathered around a long silver table. Guards stood near the walls. No one spoke right away. Finally, Lark said, "What we saw today is not just a ship. It's a change in history." Rolvik nodded slowly. "I agree." "The question now," Threx added, "is what do we tell our people?" The leaders looked at each other. Most were still trying to understand what they had witnessed. "How did that ship slow? Old-looking and alone, 'cause 6 fleets to retreat." "It was never really slow," Threx said. "We just thought it was." "How is that possible?" a Veer officer asked. "Our sensors tracked its speed." Yes," Threx replied. "But think. The countdown, the controlled energy, the beam that didn't explode but erased. This wasn't about speed or size. It was about control." Commander Lark leaned forward. "That ship was testing us. It knew we would react. It wanted to show us something. And what do you think that was?" Lark's voice dropped lower. "That Earth is not asleep, that humans don't bluff." Silence followed. Rulvek finally said, "We must consider the possibility that they've been watching us for years." "But why now?" someone asked. "Why show up today?" Maybe Threx said. They saw enough. On a nearby screen, the room watched replay footage of the attack on the VR cruiser. The beam, the clean cut, the slow drift of the damaged ship. No flames. No chaos, just precision. "What kind of technology does that?" an officer whispered. "Not ours," another answered. On distant worlds, the news of the Terran ship spread fast. Empires debated, advisors argued. Science councils were called to emergency meetings. In the Kaldan Empire, a senator demanded answers. If humans have this kind of power, where have they been hiding it? The Jural Union, high scholars searched. Ancient records. So they found an old file marked Project Ghostblade. No one knew what it meant, but it had Terran markings on the neutral world of Rin. Common citizens watched recordings and asked, "What did we do to make them return?" In a hidden research lab far from the galactic center, a team of experts replayed the message from the Terran Warship. "You forgot us. We did not forget you." A scientist stood up. "They never left the galaxy. They just stopped talking." Another researcher replied, "No. They started listening instead." Back on the station near Galaron, the commanders ended their meeting. "We must not provoke them," Rolvik said. "Agreed," Lark added, as the leaders returned to their ships. A new signal appeared, not from the Terran warship, but from deep space. Far away, encrypted. Old format. Threx's science vessel picked it up first. "This is Terran Command," the message read. "Event complete. Phase 1 successful. Observation teams, prepare for Phase 2. Rolvik, Threx, and Lark were quickly informed. "Phase 2, Rolvik repeated. "What does that mean?" "We're not sure," Threx said, checking the signal. "Data. But this message wasn't meant for us. It was meant for others." "Others?" Lark asked. "Who?" "We don't know. But if there are more Terran ships, ... He didn't need to finish. The thought alone was enough. On board the damaged VR cruiser, rescue teams finally arrived. The surviving crew was in shock. Captain Volex was unconscious. No one could explain how the ship had survived at all. "It didn't want to destroy us," said one injured crewman. "It just wanted us to feel helpless." The Galactic Council held an emergency meeting. Leaders from more than 50 species came together. Images of the Terran ship were shown on large holographic displays. The countdown, the messages, precision strike. Some wanted to declare humans dangerous. Others said it would be foolish to provoke them, if they can erase ships without effort.
Wow.
One ambassador said, "Then war is suicide." The council Decided on a temporary action. No alien fleet would enter Terran space without permission. No scans, no ships, no communication, unless invited. Across the galaxy, maps were updated. A large region of space near the Sol system was marked in red. Do not enter Terran space. But the humans didn't respond. They didn't show themselves again. Their ship didn't return. No new messages came. Just silence. Some believed the silence was peace. Others feared it was the calm before something bigger. In a hidden bunker on a moon orbiting Pluto, Terran general watched the reports coming in. They backed off. His aide said, "Good," the general replied. "Do we go forward with Phase 2? The general looked at a screen showing multiple dots, more ships, more signals, more plans. "Not yet," he said. "Let them think. Let them fear. And when the time comes, they'll remember who we are." The screen zoomed out, showing the entire galactic map. Earth was still a small dot, but now, the whole galaxy was watching it and waiting. The galaxy did not forget. After the strange Terran ship vanished, its message stayed behind like a shadow. No one dared enter Terran space. No ship flew close to Earth. No empire sent probes or scouts. The memory of that single strike, the beam, that cut a cruiser in half, was enough. But deep inside military command centers and secret research labs, questions were growing louder. Why had Earth stayed silent for so long? How many ships like that one did they have? And more importantly, what was Phase 2? Commander Lark of the Thrin fleet couldn't sleep. He kept watching the recordings over and over. Something felt unfinished. "They didn't come to fight," he said to his aide. "They came to send a message. Now they're gone," the aide replied. "No," Lark said. "They're not gone. They're watching." Meanwhile, in a hidden system near the edge of known space, something new appeared. A Terran station powered by the same energy signature as the warship, lit up for the first time in years. Inside, machines awakened. Robotic arms prepared supplies. Weapons calibrated. Everything ran silently and perfectly, and then, one by one, new Terran warships began to emerge from the station's hangars. They looked just like the ones seen in Galeran. Slow, armored, quiet. But this time, there were 5. Each ship sent the same repeating signal: observe, hold, protect. No one attacked. No one challenged them, because they remembered. On a broadcast station in the Kaldan Empire, a reporter spoke carefully to the galaxy. "It seems Earth has returned, not with words, not with fleets, but with purpose. This isn't a show of power, it's a show of presence. Back on Earth, things were quiet. Cities were calm. Skies were clear. The people of Earth went on with their lives. They had no idea what kind of fear their ships had caused." In a deep underground control center, General Cole stood before a wall of screens. Each screen showed data from different parts of the galaxy: fleet movements, political meetings, secret transmissions. "We gave them a chance for peace," Cole said. His assistant nodded. "And if they choose war?" "They won't," Cole answered. "They saw what one ship could do." The assistant looked nervous. "How many do we really have?" Cole gave a small smile. "Enough." The Terran warships didn't move toward any enemy base. They didn't speak. They didn't threaten. They simply stood in space, silent watchers. This caused something strange to happen, for the first time in decades. The galactic empires started talking to each other. "We need peace treaties," the Jural ambassador said. "We should reduce our war budgets," added a Kaldan leader. "What if we invited the humans to speak with us?" someone asked. But Earth said nothing. The warships stayed. A week passed, then 2. Finally, a message appeared on the public galactic network. It came from Earth. It wasn't loud or long. "You forgot us. You feared us. Now learn from us." Attached to the message was a large data file. It contained records of past galactic wars, cruelty, and cover-ups, things that many empires had tried to erase, yet somehow the Terrans had collected it all. One by one, the files spread. Citizens across the stars saw truths they never knew. Many felt anger. Some felt shame. Others finally understood why the Terrans had stayed quiet for so long. They weren't avoiding the galaxy, they were watching it fail. Inside the Crawl Archive ship, the lead observer made another report. Event log, Phase 2. The Terrans did not return to destroy. They returned to warn. Their silence was not weakness. It was preparation. The broken remains of the VR cruiser were placed in a museum orbiting Rin. It became a symbol, a warning, but also a question. What comes next? Commander Threx, now retired, visited the museum and stood before the wreckage. Young students gathered around him, curious. Were you there? One asked. Yes, Threx replied softly. Were you scared? He paused, then nodded. I wasn't scared of the ship. I was scared of how much we didn't know. We assumed humans were weak because they were quiet. But quiet doesn't mean powerless. One child asked, Do you think they'll attack again? No, Threx said. They don't want war. But they won't let it come to them either. Months passed. The galaxy slowly changed. War rates dropped. Old rivalries faded. Science groups from different empires began working together. And through it all, Terran warships remained in their positions, calm, unshaken, untouched. They never fired again. They didn't need to. The memory of that first fire was enough. Some called it the awakening. Others called it the silent storm. Most just called it the day everything changed. And far beyond the stars, on a quiet human ship, a message was spoken, not sent through space, but recorded for the future. A woman's voice said, We showed them a glimpse of our strength, not to dominate, but to remind. The galaxy once laughed at Earth. Now they listen. We hope they choose peace. But if not, we are ready. And somewhere in the deep dark, another Terran ship powered up. Not because of war, but because watching was never enough. Not anymore.